Oh yeah. So, greetings to everyone, and please listen to the upcoming teachings with the proper Mahayana motivation, which is to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So today we start the actual teachings of the book, The Words of My Perfect Teacher. So we start the actual teachings, and the actual teachings begin from the reflecting upon the preciousness of the human life. And so in the text, in the scriptures speak of two important qualities, two important sections of qualities that makes the human life precious. That is known as the freedom and the the freedom and the advantages. The freedom sometimes is translated as leisure and advantages. And so there are 8 freedoms or 8 leisures and 10 advantages. And in total there are 18 different qualities that sort of signifies the human life as an precious life, as an precious endowment. So we begin our teaching by reflecting upon the 8 freedoms and the 10 advantages. So before we go into the book, I will lay out a few things, because the book was actually written in the in a setting where everyone is a Buddhist, and people who live in a Buddhist, the culture is enriched very much with Buddhist ideas, which is Tibet. So in such a setting, many of the explanations or the commentaries made in the teaching fits very well without any discomfort. But someone living outside of such a culture, so to speak, someone who is living outside of a Buddhist culture, so to speak, it will be a little bit difficult, or if not difficult, it will be quite difficult to make a connection between the teachings and the and yourself. So the main point of receiving a Dharma teaching is to make a connection with what the book is saying and what you are feeling, what your spirit is saying. So if there is no connection between your spirit and the book, then the book is having no effect on developing you spiritually. So in that manner, I will lay out some context first. So this thing about the precious human life, one needs to understand. So this is the thing. There are two main reasons for talking about this topic. Two main reasons. One is the preciousness or the usefulness, if you like, and the other is the rareness, the rarity. How rare is the human life? And in many of the scriptures, the human life, the precious human life, is likened to a precious gem, a wish-fulfilling gem. So those of you who don't know about this, there is, there is a gem, there is a precious stone called a wish-fulfilling gem, and if you get hold of that gem, then whatever prayer you make to the that stone get answered. All of your material needs, to drink, to eat, to live, to stay, to fly, whatever you want to do materially, you can do it with that precious stone. So that precious stone, so human life is likened to that precious stone. One thing, right? And the reason is because the human life, in the human realm, you have the ability to be completely free from samsara. You have the ability to attain enlightenment, which is completely free from all the flaws, all the faults, all the suffering, all the negativities, and endowed with all the positivities, all the qualities, all the excellent qualities, enlightened qualities of the Buddha. So that you have the ability turn yourself into a Buddha, to an enlightened being, and of all the of the 6 realms, the human realm, the God realm, the 3 lower realms and the 3 higher realms. Of all the 6 realms, the human beings have the most potential. For many reasons, the human life has the most. The human life is the most potent one in producing the enlightenment. And so for that reason, human life is likened to a precious stone. And another thing is the rareness of the rarity of a human life, which is so for example, if you were given, or if you were handed out a precious stone, or for another example that is more appropriate in today's time. Let's say you have a money making machine, right? And you have that money making machine. It can print out thousands of dollars every second. So if you get that machine, it's a very important machine. It's a very useful machine in this world. But at the same time, somebody tells you, the person who hands out that machine to you tells you that, okay, you can have that machine for 2 hours, and after that, I will take it back. So what are you going to do? Are you going to wait, just waste your time, while your time away for the 2 hours? Or are you going to print as much money as you can within the 2 hours, the allotted time? 2 hours time that was allotted to you by the person who gave you that money-making machine. So similarly, the human life, as precious as it is also very rare in the sense of very difficult to come by and very easy to go away. So therefore, the human life is important for a spiritual practitioner, for someone who is pursuing the ultimate goal of liberation, the ultimate goal of nirvana, the ultimate goal of Buddhahood. So for such a person, the human life has such a meaningful potential, powerful and meaningful potential, and therefore we must use it wisely. So that is the main reason for reflecting upon the preciousness of human lives. Now we will delve into the actual the book. So the teaching itself, an explanation of how difficult it is to find the freedoms and advantages. So one thing you have to understand is, as I just explained, when we talk about the precious human life, we are not talking about all human lives. So many people may not be aware of this, but not all human lives are precious human lives. So, of course, human lives are important, but in these strict spiritual terms, the precious human life refers to a certain life that is free, that has the 8 freedoms and the 10 advantages. So, as in total, the human life endowed with the 18 qualities are regarded as a precious human life. So if you have a human life other than a human life lacking in the 18 qualities, then it is not a precious human life as per the spiritual term. Now, so the main chapter, the today's subject, the precious human life, has 4 sections reflecting on the nature of the freedom, reflecting on the particular advantages related to Dharma, related to practicing Dharma, reflecting on images that show how difficult it is to find the freedoms and advantages, and reflecting on numerical comparisons. Reflecting on the nature of the freedom, or the leisure, as in Tibetan we call it telwa. Telwa means leisure. So more simple understanding in English would be freedom. So the term freedom is used here. So in general, here the freedom means to have the opportunity to practice Dharma and not to be born in one of the 8 states without that opportunity, without that freedom. So lack of freedom refers to those 8 states where there is no such opportunity. And those 8 states are first, hell beings; second, the Preta realm, usually translated as the hungry ghost realm; then third as the animal realm; and fourth as a long-lived god; then as a barbarian; then having the wrong views, and then being born when there is no Buddha, and or being born deaf and mute. So these are the 8 states without the freedom, to practice Dharma. So one thing we have to understand is that when we talk about the precious human life, we are not talking about the preciousness of human life in general. As I said before, we are talking about the preciousness from a Buddhist perspective. In other words, preciousness to practice the Dharma. So a human life that is precious, that has the qualities, that is precious and that has the qualities to practice the Dharma, has to have the 18 qualities. If there is none of those qualities, then that human life is no longer precious to be practicing Dharma. So the first one is the hell realm, the hell being. So the hell, the term for hell in hell being or hell realm in Sanskrit is narg, which translates as no relief. So there is when you are in the when you are in the hell realm, there isn't a moment of relief. There isn't a moment of bliss, moment of joy, moment of fulfillment. So therefore, you are constantly in pain. You are constantly in intense pain, either from heat, either from cold. There are actually 18 different stages of hell realm. So you are in whichever form of the 18 stages of the hell realm that you are in, you will be constantly in intense pain, being tormented, being suffering, and you will have no opportunity to practice the Dharma, even though you know that it is because of your own bad karma that you landed up in the hell realm. You sort of realize your mistakes, but still you do not have any energy, so to speak, to put that into a positive usage of practicing the Dharma. So therefore, in the hell realm, you will have no opportunity to practice the Dharma. And the same goes with the pretas. In the pretas, or the normally translated as the hungry ghost, hungry ghost realm. So it's I don't know how that translation came into being, but the pretas actually are someone who is constantly the translation for the word preta, or normally what we call the hungry ghost. When we draw them, we usually draw them in a manner where they have a big belly, big stomach, and a very thin a thin neckline and a very thin body. And visually, of course, they look like a hungry ghost. But the actual translation of the word, the preta, or in Tibetan yita, actually means dissatisfied mind. So it does not necessarily have to do, actually both the hell realm and the pretas, or the hungry ghost realm, may or may not have to do with the physical hell realm. You can, if it fits well, you can think of a physical hell realm, and the same goes to the pretas. But it can also be a mental, it can also be a mental world of torment, in the sense of in the sense of hell realm, and also in the pretas. The actual translation of the pretas is dissatisfied mind. So what it actually means is someone who is always looking for something else, something better, someone better, somewhere better, sometime better. So when your mind is never satisfied, your mind is never in the satisfied content with what you have right now, even though what you have right now may not be as good as many others, but it is it is to a great extent much better than what many others don't have. So there are 7 billion human beings in the world. So if your life is much worse, you are much worse off than 3 billion human beings, you are still better than 3 billion other human beings. So if you look at it, you are in the middle of not too bad, not too good thing. So there is always a reason to be content with your life, with the time that you have, with the partner that you have, with the life that you have, with the money that you have, with the belongings, luxuries, whatever. What you have is always much more and better than what others don't have. But many a times we live in this kind of the world of the pretas, by always looking for something else, but by not being content with what we have. And so therefore, majority of us, if not, even though we are not pretas as a whole, but we live the lives of a preta occasionally, or oftentimes we live the lives of a preta because we are always longing for something better, something cooler, something hotter, something warmer, something smoother, something softer, something tastier, something better. So that longing actually makes us hungry and discontent with what we already have. And so therefore, in a manner of speaking, we are living the lives of the pretas. So anyway, so if you're always longing and hungry for something else, then you will have no freedom or leisure to practice the Dharma. And so therefore, the pretas have no opportunity to practice the Dharma because of that. Okay. So next is the animals, the animal realms. When you were born in the animal realm, you have no opportunity to practice the Dharma because animals, either they are domesticated animals, kind of are, are used for the pleasure of the human beings, and the non-domesticated animals are, when they are out by themselves, they are either busy with what, their livelihood, which is to kill other animals to eat, or to be killed by other animals, or just go around making babies, and so that's all they know. And so therefore the animal realm, one more addition that is not in the book is that when you're born in the animal realm, you are, as an animal, you are, you don't have the same intellect as the human being to comprehend the meaning of the Dharma. And so therefore, no matter what Dharma you were taught, you cannot comprehend the meaning. Even though when we have some animals, we liberate animals, and when we see animals, we will recite some mantras into the ears of the animals, just to what we call leave an imprint, leave a spiritual imprint. But that's about it, because they cannot understand. If you tell them the meaning of compassion, the meaning of bodhicitta, the meaning of emptiness, they cannot understand. Of course, we can show love to them, and they can understand love to a certain degree and extent, but they do not have the same sort of intellect as a human being to comprehend the full meaning of compassion or bodhicitta. So therefore, the animal realm doesn't have these qualities. Yeah. And the exact opposite goes with the God realm, the opposite of the above the three realms, the hell realm, the preta realm, and the animal realm. What the animal realm, what the three lower realm doesn't have, the God realm has in plenty, has an extra, has the God realm has the exact opposite of all these opportunities. And when it is flooded with such opportunities, so therefore the extreme form of suffering, of extreme heat and extreme cold, none of these are there in the God realm. Extreme hunger, none of that is there in the God realm. And extreme lack of intellect to understand the Dharma, that is also not there in the God realm. But on top of that, they have everything in leisure, everything in bountiful and extra. In other words, they are filled with vanity. And the problem with long-lived God is that they live for so long that they have the they were misguided into thinking that they live forever. They live for so long that themselves and the other gods beside them. So the long-living gods are usually like the king of the gods. One of the higher gods who live longer than the other gods, the smaller gods. And because of that, so many gods come, live, and die in their own in front of their own eyes. And so they think they actually outlived the gods, and then they think they are immortals. And then this is a word used in English to describe the gods, immortals. So they never die. This is what they think. And because of that, so if you have everything that you need, and if you everything you need and possibly want materially, and then if you live forever without any change in your physical appearance or anything, then what usually gets into your mind is that there is no need to change, there is no need to progress, there is no need to there is no need to develop spiritually, because you can do pretty much anything you like for the rest of your life. And so that actually blinds them into thinking that they don't need the Dharma. And so therefore, even though the gods have the intellect and all the opportunities, they lack in the opportunity to practice the Dharma as willfully as a human being. Oh yeah. Next is, even if you're born in a human realm, so as I said, not all human lives can be considered precious to practice the Dharma. So even if you're born in a human life, human realm, usually the human realm has all the opportunities to practice the Dharma, because they have seen both the good side and the bad side. People who are born in the human realm were born because of a mixture of the positive and the negative karma, and most of the human beings have positive and negative karma in equal measures. When they were born in the other realms, they have either the positive karma in a higher scale, or the negative karma in a higher scale. So when you have the negative karma on a higher scale, you're born in the lower realm, and when you have the positive karma on the higher scale, you are born in the God realm, and so on and so forth. Then to be born in the human realm, you need to have equal measure of both positive karma and negative karma. So there's a twist. So usually we think the more positive karma, the better it is. In a way, it is better to have positive karma, but when you have a lot of positive karmas, and if you do not manage, so there's a catch here. If you have a huge amount of positive karma, you also need to be able to manage it in such a way that you were born in the human realm in your next life. If you are not able to steer your life, if you're not able to steer your birth into a human realm in your next rebirth, then you will automatically be born, because of your high positive karma, you will be born in the God realm. And when you are born in the God realm, then you have all the riches and all the luxuries, all the vanities to blind you from Dharma practice. So now, even if you are born in the human realm, if you are born in a land where there is no Dharma practice, where it is not allowed to practice the Dharma. And nowadays there's internet, so everybody knows about Buddha, Dharma, Buddhism. So there is no one who has not heard about Buddha, Dharma anymore. But back in the day, there are certain countries, many kingdoms who has not heard of the Buddha's teaching, so on like that. But in today's time, everyone has heard of the Buddha's teaching. But there are many places where the Buddha's teaching were not allowed to be practiced. So there's like billions of people who does not have the opportunity to practice the Dharma, even if they are born in the human realm. In many of the remotest countries, tribal areas where there is no internet or anything, and no, so those people have never heard of Buddha Dharma at all. Such as some of the remotest Aboriginal villages in Australia, or the Bushmen of Africa. So none of them have heard of the Buddha Dharma, even though they are born in the human realm. They do not have the opportunity to practice the Dharma. And the same goes to the Tirthikas. Tirthikas usually means non-Buddhist. In ancient India, there are many philosophers belonging to different school of philosophies, Buddhist and non-Buddhist. So Tirthika is a reference to non-Buddhist. So someone who has born to the who belongs to the non-Buddhist schools. So just because you are not a Buddhist doesn't mean you are not endowed with the opportunity. If you belong to the non-Buddhist school, usually you will have the wrong view of of accepting the soul, accepting the Atma. And then when you accept the soul, when you accept the self, when you accept the idea of self, the ideology of self, then it is in contradiction with the Buddha's teaching, because Buddha taught anatma, or the selflessness. So therefore it is, if you belong to the non-Buddhist schools, then you are not endowed with the freedom to practice the Dharma. And the same goes to people who are born in the dark kalpa, where there is no Dharma even. Luckily, for people living in this century, I mean this millennia, we have heard of the Buddha's teaching, even though Buddha himself is not here personally, but we have the teachings, so we know what he spoke of, what his message was. So during the dark kalpa, even that will not be there, and so therefore you will not be able to practice the Dharma at all. And the same goes to people who are mute and mentally deficient. So even if you're mute, of course, there are many different practices you can do, because Dharma is a mental practice and not necessarily physical one. But if you are mute, you may not be able to recite the mantras and read the books vocally. So therefore, there are some disadvantages. So you are not fully advantageous. If you are mentally deficient, then you will not be able to comprehend the meaning of the Buddha's teaching. So therefore, if you are mentally deficient, or if you are mentally sick, if you are a crazy person, then you will not benefit. Even if you are born in the human realm, you will not benefit from the Buddha's teaching. You will not be able to use the Buddha's teaching for full. You will not be able to take the full advantage of using the Buddha's teaching, practicing the Buddha's teaching. So therefore, you don't have that freedom, those 8 freedoms. So this is the 8 freedoms, or the lack of freedoms. If you lack any of, if you are born in either of those realms, then you lack the freedom. If you are free from those eight disopportunities, if you like, then you have the freedom to practice the Dharma. And now, if you reflect upon yourself, majority of us, most of us, have those freedom, and so therefore we must utilize everything that we have to practice the Dharma. Okay, so I will stop here for today, and if you have some questions, then we'll take that.
We have 2 questions.
Sure, please.
I'll read the first. Prostrate to Rinpoche, even if we are humans, we can still live like a preta, because we are never satisfied or always looking for something better. Is this an indication that we will be born in a preta realm in the next life? Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh yeah. So not necessarily. Not necessarily. Even though in Tibetan we have a saying, if you become too stingy, then you will be born as a preta. So people who are stingy usually are so much attached to what they have. So it's not necessarily longing for what you don't have, but also being too much attached to what you already have can also lead the realm of a preta. So that said, as I mentioned earlier, the decision of where you are going to be born as, the critical moment is at the time of death. At the time of the death, if you could steer yourself to the human realm, to a higher realm, or if you could not. Most of the time, if you just if we are prepared, by preparation, we're talking about training in the Dharma. If we are prepared, if we are trained in the Dharma, then at the time of the death, at a critical moment, we would be aware of the fact that we are now departing onto another. So it's like a departing from one busy station to another busy station. So when you are well prepared, you know the map very well. So you know which station you have to jump off and which station that you have to go get inside, even though the train halts only for a few seconds. So if you are aware of that, then at the time of death, even though you may have done a lot of negative things in your life, but at a certain point, if you make a swerve, if you turn to the positive side, and then you prepare, and then you train, then you will be aware at that critical moment, and then you will be able to jump off at the right station and jump into the right train at the right moment. So therefore, even though what's going on in our lives at the moment are somewhat indicative of in which life we were going to be born as, but it is not all conclusive. So it is not the conclusion. There can be amendments made later on. So the important thing is that you have to train yourself. By training, we're not just talking about reciting the mantra. Of course, that is a very important part of the practice, very important part of the ritual. But at the same time, you have to train your mind to be aware, to wake up the mind. You know, the meaning of the word Buddha is the one who is awakened. So right now, even though we are walking, eating, talking, doing all these things, it's almost like we are sleepwalking. Everything seems to be sort of like predetermined. We do not move around willfully. It is okay, we have to get up because I have work to do. I have to eat because I have to catch up with some work. I have to go to see this and that person because otherwise this or that thing will happen. So you are always led by someone else or something else, some other events externally, not from inside. So we're not doing, most of the thing that we are doing is not something that we are doing willfully. And the reason we're not doing it willfully is because we are not awakened. We have not woken up. We're still like sleepwalking. So we walk wherever we are being led towards. So this is something that we have to get out of. And when we are able to do that at the critical moment, at the critical station, you will be able to jump off and jump in to the right train, right station, and then you will be able to escape the lower realm and get into the higher realm, especially into the human realms. Okay, next question, please.
Next question, Rinpoche, regarding the 8 realms. Can you please confirm that those 8 realms are nowhere else, but they are here on Earth?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I think there's a little bit miscommunication here, misunderstanding here. So there are 8 freedoms or 8 leisures, not 8 realms. The realm, as far as the realms are concerned, there are only 6 realms, 3 lower realms and 3 higher realms. So I think the question seems to be, if someone is born, they have to be born in either of the 6 realms, and that the answer is yes. If you are born, as long as you are born in samsara, You have to be born within the the 6 realms, the 3 upper realms or higher realms, that is the god, a demigod, and the human beings. The lower realms, the hell being, the preta or the hungry ghost, hungry spirit, and then the animal realm. Okay.
No more
That's it.
questions.
That's the last one. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the questions and your attention. And now let's dedicate the prayer. Dedicate. Kewan di nyurdo da lama sangye drogyo. Drowa chejang ma le ma ye sa la. Ma ye ba na ma ye yo. Ye ba nyamba me ba ra yang. Ko ve shing pen dan. Ma lu jung hen. Le se wa. Kabe sinde bardo. Me inze. De jin jin re. De me ingen. Bo jang.